This week you are starting your first essay of the quarter, which is going to be a narrative essay. Essentially, you're just going to be recalling an event and then forming that event or experience into, a college level essay. So the purpose of this essay is to essentially just help you apply the narrative strategies and information that you've read about in chapters 2, and 14. Um, and that's really about it. It's just an application of what you've learned. So be sure that you fully understand the information covered in those chapters because they do an excellent job of telling you and teaching you what makes for an effective narrative. So be sure to follow those guidelines and that information, and that will really guide you as you craft your essay. As far as formatting goes, please make sure you use a proper, MLA format. I've included a video for you to kind of overview that information. It's posted in week 1, so be sure to review it as many times as you need to so that you can get it correct. Your format is part of your grade, so if you need to watch that video multiple times, then please do so. I pretty much think that when students don't have their MLA correct, it's either something technological going on, or they just simply didn't watch that video. So make sure that you do that so that you can get your format correct and it doesn't affect your grade negatively. For this assignment, please write a 2-page essay that describes and reflects upon one specific experience in your life and its meaning for you. Be sure that you include both of these elements. It's a required part of this essay. You don't want to just describe, you also have to reflect. So as you're thinking about the organization of your essay, think about where you're going to plug that reflection in. Are you going to do it throughout, or are you going to tell your story and then reflect in a paragraph and then conclude? So think about that, but I have to see both elements. A narrative is not just a good story. It has meaning and purpose and significance, and that's where the reflection comes in. If you lack that reflection, you have no purpose, no meaning, and no significance. So that's why it's a required aspect of the paper. Make sure you describe and make sure you reflect. Also, the essay, excuse me, my goodness, the textbook has very good guidance in how to craft your essay. Starting on page 32, that section of the chapter is all about writing your own narrative. So be sure that you review that information hopefully a couple times before you begin your essay so that you know what it is that you need to be doing to write an effective narrative. Also, it will tell you what I will be looking for in a narrative. So be sure to review the book, and hopefully you've already read it. But if not, make sure you review that information so that you can craft your essay around that. Your audience is someone who does not know you and does not know your experience. This means that you're going to have to give really good description and very vivid and clear details because you're not writing to someone who knows about that experience. You're going to have to be more clear, otherwise you might lose your reader. And really, you can think about me as your audience for this essay if you'd like. I don't know you, I don't know your experiences. So if I get lost in your paper, then you'll know that probably anybody who doesn't know you is going to get lost. So if I'm a good gauge for you, a good way to assess what kind of details you need to give, then go ahead and picture me as your audience if you like. I don't tend to encourage that. I want you to, try imagining, a more broad audience than just me. But in this case, it's pretty fitting because I don't know you. But don't direct your paper toward me in any way. Don't address it to me. You want to address it to an uneducated audience at large. Just when I give my feedback and I say, I have no idea what this means, you'll know that, well, if she doesn't know me, then anybody who doesn't know me probably will be confused. So I don't know if that'll help or not, but there it is. All right, so the assessment for this essay is kind of a 2-part thing. The first week you're going to be working on your outline, and then the second week you're going to be turning in your final draft based on that outline. So let's look at that outline really fast. So here's the narrative essay outline, that I expect you to fill out and then turn in by Sunday of the first week. So each unit and paper is essentially cut up into 2 weeks. So the first week you're going to be working on planning and outlining. The second week you're going to work on drafting, and then turn your paper in at the end of that second week. So that should be the pattern for the rest of the quarter. Hopefully we'll all get used to that form as we move on. So essentially you can read the directions, but you're just going to fill this out for me. So when you start this, do make sure that you submit this on time. Otherwise, you won't get credit for it, and you won't get feedback on it, and you want feedback on this. So when you fill this out, you can go ahead and delete those directions. I don't need those, but then you're going to want to fill out all of this. So let's see here. Put my name on there, but what I suggest in those directions is to change the color. I love purple, so I could change my color to purple. Just make sure it's something that I can see easily. There, that's a better purple. You can do any color you want, but what this helps me do is see the difference between my outline form and the writing that you're putting on it. Not absolutely essential, but it really does help my eyes go to what you have to say more quickly. And since I've got so many of these to look at and provide feedback on, any little bit helps. So do what you like with that. Then fill out pretty much all the information that I have. So with these narrative elements, you need to think about what your inciting incident is going to be, what your exposition is, what your climax is, and so on. If you don't know what these are, you need to go back to the textbook and review that. By laying these out in front of you and planning them now, it's going to make drafting your paper much, much easier. Then I want you to give me some details about your introduction, what you're going to do. Your thesis statement is going to help you decide on your purpose and your main point of your essay. How are you going to hook your reader and then keep them entertained in your introduction, and so on. So this will help you, again, just start to plan your paper. So do it for your introduction, do it for each of your body paragraphs. Tell me what your main idea of the paragraph is, and there can only be one. Tell me what your transition sentence is going to be. Give me your support and details. And then what specific writing techniques are you going to use to keep your reader engaged with your paper. I've got 4 body paragraph sections here. If you only use 3, that's okay. If you use 5, that's fine. But you need multiple body paragraphs. So I just kind of gave you 4. You can add or subtract as you think is appropriate. And then, of course, tell me some information about your conclusion. So hopefully this makes sense. If you have any questions as to this outline, let me know. But this is going to be a standard for each essay that you do. You're going to do an outline before you do a draft for me, and this is what I'm going to provide feedback on. So if you have any questions, let me know about that. Okay, so going back to the essay number 1 prompt. So the first half of the assessment is getting your narrative outline done the first week, and then of course the final draft of this is due the Sunday of the second week, and it's worth 50 points. And you'll be graded according to this rubric. The trick with this rubric is it has to be included with your essay when you turn it in. If you don't, I have no way of providing feedback for you, and you will get a 0. So make sure you include this with your essay. And to do that, all you have to do is copy it to a new Word document and paste it. That's all it takes. Please don't make it ugly. Please don't make it spaced out and weird. It needs to look just like this. It makes it so much easier for me to work with when it's like this. Then all you have to do is insert a page break and start your MLA heading. So don't put your MLA heading on the rubric. Your heading goes with your paper itself. So again, your rubric goes before the first page of your paper. Hopefully you can keep that in mind. Otherwise, I'll try to correct you on it and say, oh, please just put your rubric first and then use your heading and page numbers on your paper itself. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, so here are the things you're going to be graded on. It has to be 2 pages long for it to pass. It also has to have description and reflection if it's going to pass. If you don't meet either of those standards, there's no way it's going to receive a passing grade. So make sure that you do those. Then here is the MLA information that I expect to see. Make sure you introduce in some way. Keep your paper focused on only one main idea. Don't deviate from that main idea. Use transitions. Develop your paragraphs appropriately. Use different varying sentence structures so that you can vary your writing a bit. Have a good paper organization based on your purpose and your information. Also, this one's really important too. Make sure that you are utilizing the narrative strategies that you learn about in the textbook and in my lecture, um, and in anything else I provide for you in this unit. I want to see that you're applying that information. If I don't, then I don't know that you're learning anything, and more than likely, your narrative's not going to be very strong. So apply those basics, and you'll more than likely have a good narrative. Also, make sure you conclude in some way, and make sure that you meet the academic writing standards that I outlined in week 1. So no contractions, no rhetorical questions, no using you, things like that. So if you need to review that in week 1, go ahead and do that. So again, you can have a stronger narrative essay. So this is your first essay of the quarter. So if you have any questions over anything, don't hesitate to let me know, and keep me posted on how you're doing.